What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Suship deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that have included all sorts of spicy engines in this build for you guys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can come burn notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Shari. Shari is definitely a 3 of in the build because the entire deck revolves around using this card as an XZ material to make your big Suship XZ monsters to help you go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Shari Red. Shari Red is definitely a 3 of in the build as well because this card's name becomes Gunkin Suship Shari while it's in the hand, deck, graveyard, and on the field. And you can only use the following effects this card once per turn, but you're going to reveal one other Gunkin Suship Shari in your hand and special summon this card from your hand. Then you can apply this effect to be able to special summon a Gunkin monster directly from your deck, except another copy of this card, but negate its effects, if any. Then special summon from the X deck one XZ monster that mentions that special summon monster in its name, using that monster and this card as material, which is a great ability to help you go in for an XZ play by using this card and one of your monsters directly from your deck. We then play 3 copies of Uni. Uni is definitely a 3 of as well because this card is one of those powerful cards in the entire build. With the ability that you can reveal one other Gunkin card in your hand to special summon this card from your hand and apply the following effect based on the revealed card. If you revealed a copy of Shari, you can special summon the revealed monster, or if it's another card, you can actually place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck. And also this card has the ability you can target a Gunkin monster you control and change its level to 4 or 5. Then you can add a Gunkin Suship Shari from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to actually make our rank 5 XZ monster by using this card to get an additional monster out on our side of the field and level modulating it, which is so cool. We then play 2 copies of Icefish. Icefish is really good as a 2 of in the build and helps out a lot in the deck, as this card has the ability if you control a copy of Shari or an XZ monster that has a copy of Shari as a material, you can special summon this card from the hand. Also, during your main phase, you can actually special summon a Gunkin monster from your hand except another copy of this card. Then you can take any number of Gunkin Suship Sharis from the deck or graveyard and place them on the top of the deck in any order, which is a pretty cool ability. We then play a single copy of Ikora. Ikora is great as a 1 of in the build, but you really need a single copy of this card. It's crazy that you control a copy of Shari, you can special summon this card from the hand, and also during your main phase, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can actually either add to your hand or special summon one excavated copy of Shari, and shovel the rest back in the deck, which is a pretty cool ability. We then play 3 copies of the Primite Dragon. Primite Dragon is an amazing 3 of in the build, and I absolutely love the Primite engine, especially since the Primite Dragon is actually a level 4, making it super easy to go in for some XZ plays, and this card helps us get to our copy of Lordly Load or all the other awesome Primite cards we're playing in this build, so we can summon another copy of Shari and back it up with Drill Beams. We then play 2 copies of Ice Raziel. The Raziel engine just works so well in this deck to help you go in for rank 4 plays, and this card has an awesome ability. You can special summon this card in your hand by sending a card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and also has the ability, if this card is normal summon, you can actually special summon a Raziel monster from the deck, making this card basically the tour guide for the build. But this card is awesome in the deck to be able to use to help you go for some rank 4 plays. We then play 2 copies of EXT. EXT is awesome in this build as well because this card is the ability you can special summon this card in your hand by sending an XZ monster from your X deck to the graveyard. Also, if this card is normal or special summon, and you control no other face-up monsters except level or rank 4 monsters, you can actually add a Fire Thunder monster from your deck to your hand, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use. We then play 2 copies of Sword Ryziel. Sword is really good as a 2-of as well, as this card is ability if you have a Ryziel monster on the field in the graveyard, you can special summon this card in your hand, and also if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually add a light pyro monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to grab the exact card that you need. We then play a single copy of Node. Node is awesome to be able to use as an extender in the build, as if you have an XZ monster in the field or graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. We then also play a single copy of Star Ryziel. Star Ryziel is insane as a 1-of in the build to be able to use, because you can actually special summon this card in your hand by detaching a material from a monster that you control, helping you instantly bring this card out to your side of the field. And if this card is special summoned, you can actually set a Ryziel spell or trap from the deck, which is a great ability to get to your copy of Plugin. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is an amazing 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Call of the Grave is definitely a 1-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you where you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent is really good as a 1-of in the build to basically help us draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at our opponent's hand and choose a card from it and shuffle it into the deck. We then play a single copy of Plugin. Plugin is really good because this card is basically a searchable monster reborn for this build, letting you target one of your XZ monsters or a Ryziel monster that's banished from the graveyard and special summon it. Then you can attach a Ryziel card from the deck to one rank 4 XZ monster you control. Also, your opponent you cannot declare attacks for the rest turn except with rank 4 XZ monsters, which is not that big of a deal in this build. We then play a single copy of Ryziel Cross. Cross is insane because this card is actually a mid-chain negate, meaning you can actually negate cards in the middle of a chain, which is actually insane. But this card is a card you want to establish as quickly as possible on your side of the field, and it's an amazing 1-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Catch of the Day. Catch of the Day is great as a 1-of in the build, helps out a lot in this deck, as you can actually get to this card extremely easily with your copy of your Suship carrier. And this card is awesome in the build because it has the ability to help you get to your Suship cards, with the ability that once per turn, you can actually reveal a Suship Shari in your hand, and then place a counter on this card. And if you do, you get to reveal a Gunkin XZ monster from your action deck, and also your opponent declares one Gunkin monster's card name, except a copy of Shari that is mentioned on any Gunkin XZ monster, then you get to add the declared card from your deck to your hand, which is why you want to play at least a single copy of every single Suship monster that is mentioned on an XZ monster, so you have the option to grab it. Because if you cannot add it to your hand, you shuffle this card into the deck, and if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, your opponent pays exactly 500 life points for each counter on this card. We then play a single copy of Primite Roar. Roar is really good in the deck. You just have to pay 2,000 light points to bring out your copy of Shari to your side of the field, but you have to control no monsters when you activate this card. We then play 2 copies of Drill Beam. Drill Beam is great to be able to use this card as a negate and a banish, which is really good. Plus, if you have your copy of your Primite monster on your side of the field, you can actually set this card from the graveyard back to your side of the field, which is such a powerful effect. We then play 3 copies of Lordly Load. Lordly Load is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card lets us activate this card and then add a Primite card from our deck to our hand. It's a pretty cool ability. Also, you can declare a null monster card's name and special summon one declared null monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and Defense Cushion, which is a great effect to be able to use. Also, null monsters and Primate monsters you control gain 300 attack for each null monster with different names in your graveyard, giving you a little bit of a boost. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 3, and that's going to be 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is great as a 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. But this card is really the only trap card we need in this build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of Gunkin Suship Uni Class Super Dreadnought. This card is the only rank 5 we play in the entire extra deck, but this card is so worth it. This card has the ability, if this card is a Z summon, you can apply these effects in sequence based on its materials, which you always want to use a copy of Shari, because this card has the ability, if you use a copy of Shari, you get to draw a card, and if you use a copy of Uni, then this card gains the ability to attack directly. Also, once per turn, during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, quick effect, you can actually target a face of cards your opponent controls up to the number of Gunkin monsters you control, special summon the extra deck, and negate their effects, which is a pretty cool ability. We may see a copy of Ikura Class Dreadnought. This card is just a really good 1-of in the extra deck and such a cool card to be able to play, as if this card is XZ summon, you can apply the effects based on its materials. If you have a copy of Shari, you get to draw a card, and if you have Ikura attached to this card can make a second attack during each battle phase, which is a pretty cool effect. And let's see a copy of Carrier. Carrier is great to play as a 1-of in the build, as if you have a copy of Shari as a material when you summon it, you get to draw a card, and if you have a copy of Icefish, you actually get to add a Gunkin spell trap from your deck to your hand, which is always going to be your copy of Catch of the Day. We then play a single copy of Detonator. Detonator is one of the most powerful XZs ever created, helping you pop multiple cards on the field. It's just a really powerful card to play in this deck. We then play 2 copies of Duo Drive. Duo Drive is great in this build, just to help us search out our Yugioh cards, and it's just such an insane card to be able to play. We then play a single copy of Eclipse Twins. Eclipse Twins is great to help us recover, and it's a great card in this build. We then play a single copy of Tornado Dragon to pop spells and traps, 1 copy of Baguska just in case we need to slow down the game, a single copy of Daigusto Emerald. Daigusto Emerald is such a good card in this deck. This card lets you target 3 cards in your graveyard, or 3 monsters in the graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and then draw a card, or you get to target a non-effect monster in the graveyard and special summon it. And then a single copy of Starliege Blast Dragon. This card is awesome as a 1-of in the build, and just helps out a lot over on the deck, as while this XZ summon monsters on the field, your opponent cannot target monsters you control with 2,000 or more attack points with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either, which is a pretty cool effect to help you protect your monsters. We then play a single copy of Number 60. Number 60 is great in the deck to be able to use because it either lets us draw 2 cards and discard a card, it lets us special summon a monster in the graveyard in defense, or it lets us double the attack of a monster, which works really well with our copy of our Uni Class Destroyer, because this card helps out a lot in the deck to just double its attack points and go in for game. And play a single copy of Aggregator. Aggregator is great to be able to play in the deck for your copy of EXT to send to the graveyard to actually use as a negate, which is pretty cool. We then play a single copy of Zeus to board wipe, and finally play a single copy of Typhon just to bounce cards off the field, and use it as a skill drain for 3,000 or higher attack point monsters. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Suship deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's so fun to be able to play, and it's insane how powerful it is, especially when you play the Primite engine. And I absolutely love playing Yugioh in this deck because it just helps you make other rank 4s, which is really cool. So, that's going to do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.